I think, the general rule of thumb is that you want to flag risks. You want to identify risks and then figure out how you're going to handle them. And sometimes you have to accept the risk in a short term or you put compensating controls in place. Other times you were like, we've got this handled. We have a best in class tool and we feel great about it. But there are tremendous budget constraints and you can't spend all of your money on cybersecurity. It's just not realistic. And so then the process really becomes like what are your risks and how are you managing them, and to do that in a way that is reasonable and defensible. And that will really set you up for success. The easier cases, you can see state AGs starting to build cases in a more savvy way, like show me the oldest date of the data that was exfiltrated by the ransomware threat actor. What is
Oh,
the oldest file that was exfiltrated? Great, thank you. Please send me a copy of your data retention policy and schedule. Right?
yeah.
It's
No,
much
no.
easier to say. But that's a much easier case to work up, right? You don't have to argue about like this, improperly configured MFA, or a network facing server that was just misconfigured, or whether or not a patch was timely applied within the first 24 hours according to
Mhm.
manufacturer spec and then validated, right? You just say, look, you had data longer than you were supposed to have it,
Yeah.
and you
My
had it
gosh,
longer than
there's
you were supposed
so
to have it,
I can
right?
this
That's
gotta
an
be it's
easier
gotta
case.
maybe be one of the easiest things to ask.
So, but you and I both know how challenging data retention and data disposition is because we generate so much data and it's become so cheap to keep data. And most people want to hold on to data for a variety of different psychological reasons as well, and least of which being like you're proud of the work that you've done or you think you might need it later. So you have these kind of competing tensions there. And you can see the state as here was with state AGs, right? But you can see the state AGs, the FTC, all of these different regulators, you can see them becoming more and more sophisticated in terms of their own technical knowledge and their ability to put these cases together. So unfortunately, the goalposts continue to move, and we've long known that with cybersecurity, right? Because our tools are getting better, we can do more, but that also means that more is expected.
Yeah. Sorry. It is a lot because that is a great example of one that always scares me, right? Because data classification, data retention, the amount of times I've seen people who are like, "No, I'm gonna need that for later." I'm like, "This is over 10 years old." "No, I might need that." It's like, do you want this discoverable? Like it's a mentality, right? Because I think my perspective is it's also healthy to get rid of data after a certain time because data can be your best friend. Data can be a loaded gun. It's all about the context in which the data can sit or is needed.
Well, there's important preservation obligations there too. Oftentimes, it is a little bit like an out of body experience for some people to hear a lawyer talking about secure destruction of data. But there
Yeah,
are, oftentimes where you should be destroying the data, and there are also other times where you need to be preserving it. So it's just one of those you need to ask.
yeah.